But so like I said, I had, weight to me isn't a make or break. I've been many sizes, many, different sizes and numbers on the scale. But to me, what's really empowering is that level of confidence I feel when I work out, period.
Right. Okay. Well, I appreciate the way you answered that question, because I think a lot of times the way we show up in the world is a reflection on what work we're doing on the inside. It's kind of like how when you see someone and like you have a really nice complexion, and how when you see someone and it feels like they have a glow about them, well, yeah, you could just, it's crazy how, yes, there is a skincare regimen that goes into your skin looking so clear and vibrant, but there also, when we talk about how mental health is involved in everything that we do, well, we know that stress, overeating, not enough exposure to sunlight, like all these different things on top of having maybe a poor, inconsistent skincare regimen can lead to you not looking like your best self. So I think, to bring this full circle to what you just said, the mental aspect of working out or podcasting or whatever you decide to do, or being a musician like you were previously, I think it all comes back to how you show up in the world and how you're able to execute and hopefully be the best version of yourself.
1,000%. I mean, look at social media. You can see somebody from the trained eye, like, these influencers who have a banging fucking body and, whatever. If the camera shuts off, their Instagram shuts off, they could go to sleep and hate themselves. So to me, I'd rather be like, that doesn't mean shit to me about, what you look like. It's how you treat people, how you treat yourself, and how you feel about yourself. A lot of these people are looking for validation through likes and through, follows, and, with social media, this social media era. For me, that validation is from myself. So when I work on myself, I build myself, I value myself, I'm kind to myself, I'm kind to others. Other people's opinion of me doesn't matter.
Right.
Right. If it's bad, if it's good, I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah. But, so yeah, I think that's, to me, I know it sounds corny, but I really, truly, I work out just so I don't kill somebody, or punch somebody or flip out. Because to me, I'm zen as fuck, because I'm like, somebody could say the grimiest shit to me and I wouldn't care, because I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't, like, it doesn't matter to me because I'm whole, So I think that fitness kind of ties into all of that for me.
Yeah, it sounds like it centers you in a way, and it puts you in a good frame of mind. So it's like because in order to, like I said, show up in the world every day, and to, whether it's me being an Uber driver or you being a fitness instructor, there's a lot that goes into that. And I think we all have to kind of be physically fit. We all have to put on our armor, so to speak.
I always say that. Yeah. I always say, like, every morning I put on this, like, imaginary armor.
Yeah. And, okay, so you said something really interesting. I like what you just said, because that often makes me think about how, even though, and I would be interested to see how you incorporate this with raising your daughter. But it seems like we're quick to point out when someone is being immature. And I think sometimes it's deservedly so. But sometimes it's not immaturity. Sometimes it could be that they're really in touch with their inner child, and they've never lost that place of imagination and being a visionary and being able to go places where the rest of us can't go, because we're so caught up in the rapture and the trappings of the world that we can only see, well, I got bills to pay. I got a daughter to raise. I got a relationship to maintain. Like, I have all these things. So I guess what I wanted to ask you about is, you seem to be a person that, like you say, admittedly very nonchalant. Also, I would venture to say someone who, to a degree, is in touch with your inner child. So how do you...
I never thought about it, but perhaps, yeah.
Yeah. So how do you, now giving you a chance to elaborate on it, how do you stay in touch with your inner child while trying to navigate through life?
This is a really great question.
Thanks.
I would say that there's a quote. I'm like, I love quotes.
Yeah.
It was like, be who you needed when you were growing up.
Be the person. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And I feel like growing up, I was really lost and I needed like somebody to trust. I feel like I didn't have that. So for me with my daughter, like I just want to be, you know, completely open to her and I put myself in her shoes a lot, I guess, just to be like, what does she need? What does she, you know, require? Because she can't talk really, so it's hard. So we kind of have to just vibe together, and we're always together. So I think I would just say that I'm not patient. Before I had a kid, I'm not patient at all. It's something that I need to work on still, but I am trying to work on it. But as a parent, it slaps you in the fucking face. It's like, if you want to be a good parent or a good mom, you have to be patient with your child. And so I think that is really what I try to do in terms of listening to her and seeing her and valuing her. And 'cause she can't talk, she's 2. But
Okay.
but yeah, just kind of putting myself in her place and being very patient.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's awesome. And I think that in a way, you raising your child is a way that you can stay in touch with your inner child, because you have to put yourself
1,000%.
in those shoes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've learned so much. I'm a very self-aware person. I'll be the first to admit when I'm wrong. I have no problem with that. But becoming a mom has definitely opened up like new layers to me that I didn't even know existed. And actually, it's funny because I had a really tumultuous relationship with my mom, and I did not want a daughter. Like, never. In my wildest dreams, I've always imagined having like 4 boys, 5 boys.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
never a girl, because I was like, you know,
Yeah.
the thing that I related to that was not good. So
Right.
I was like, fuck, I don't want to fuck her up, you know?
Yeah.
So when I found out I was having a daughter, I was like, I literally wore blue to my gender reveal. Like, I was like, you know, convinced I was having a boy. I'm like, I'm a boy mom, you know?
Yeah.
So I think my daughter I'm a tomboy. I grew up with the older brother. Like, I, you know, never wore dresses. Like, I just, yeah, that's how I was. So I would also say having a daughter has taught me to be a little softer and to be more caring and open, because I can be pretty shut off with my feelings. Like, I went through a period of time where I didn't cry for like 15 years, like long fucking time. Yeah, because I related crying to being weak.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's quite the opposite. But so now as a mom, and my journey started way before that, but now I'm like, I fucking cry at the drop of a hat now, like for good things, like, you know, just emotional wise. But I think it's definitely opened up it opened the fucking floodgates for emotion. So in a good way, not like a dramatic bitch, but like, you know, just like in touch with my feelings, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's awesome, because I think when you have your, like, I mean, just think about just that whole thing about when the doctor, you go through all that you went through, the pregnancy, the delivery, and after all that, the times where maybe it's like, yo, can I do this? Do I even want to do this? And then the doctor hands you your baby. And it's just like, and to me, what's interesting is, so I interview a lot of women on this show, and I think that a lot of it is because we talked about an inner child, and there's also, I think, about a feminine side. And I know that I have that, and I know we all have it, but everybody's not going to admit it. They're not going to, you know, because masculinity is put up here and femininity is put somewhere down here. But I know being in touch with, and I wouldn't even just say it's a necessarily a feminine side, because I feel like men and women are different and very different in certain aspects, but with the human aspect, a lot of us are very similar.
Yeah.
And what's that human emotion? Like, if a doctor hands you your baby, it's just like the whole world shuts down, and you're looking at this person that looks like you. And I don't have any children.
She doesn't. She looks exactly like Jared, but yes.
Okay.
Damn him.
Yeah, man. Why his genes have to be so strong? Right.
Instantly. But anyway, sorry to cut you off.
That's okay. That's all right. But what I'm thinking about is like tears of joy, and how, or even tears of agony and misery, you gotta let it out, because
you have to. And I researched a lot about generational trauma when I was pregnant, because I had a doula, and she's the shit, but she was talking about how a lot of trauma can be passed through when you give birth, and also just from generations to generations, but also to with how you deal with your pregnancy, and a lot easier said than done. But I tried to be very zen with my pregnancy, but I remember being like, I'm not going to be that stereotypical like crazy pregnant woman. And I tried really hard, but at the end I definitely 1,000% was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely was emotional. My labor was really traumatic. And so it was funny you say when I held her in my hands, I started bawling. I think not even the fact that I held her and it was her, but just because I'm like, thank God that's over,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny because one of my favorite quotes is everyone says, everyone focuses on the birth of your child and they forget that there's also the birth of a mother. So, I feel like a completely new person.
You're reborn.
Yeah, 1,000%. And because I felt I didn't have postpartum. What was it called?
Postpartum depression.
Yeah, I didn't have that, but I was definitely very lost. It was hard for me to, because I'm very my podcast is called Self-Love Babe. So my me time is very important to me. So navigating a new life as a mom and also my time is very important to me, but trying to find that happy medium is kind of where I had a bit of trouble at the beginning, but I've definitely got my flow now.
Good. Oh, I'm happy to hear about it, because as someone that is trying to do right by Black women, because I know that there's people watching this just like, you know what you said to me, or you was telling me to come through too early. So I'm owning like the things that I've done wrong. But as someone that is definitely a fan and supporter of Black women, one thing that I heard you earlier talk about how you had a doula, and that conversation gets very, very tricky when you talk about Black people, Black women, their distrust of the traditional medical system.
I mean, the statistics of women that die, Black women that die in childbirth is insane. And I can say, so my dad is Black, my mom is white, and no, I didn't feel any type of that during my birth. But I'll say, as someone who wouldn't identify as a Black woman necessarily, or wasn't, I wasn't turned away because of that,
right?
Or I was, they were open to me or whatever. I don't even know the right words to say, but
I know what you mean.
I felt unheard in the but it wasn't because of my race. So imagine adding that other layer. Like, I felt unheard as just a woman having a baby in the hospital, period.
What was going on?
Oh, I mean, I had my baby at McGee, so their biggest worry is the baby, which is fine. And they push a lot. I mean, not to get into it too much, but they push a lot of, I was induced, so I was 3 weeks early, and they wanted me to have a C-section. And my doula was like, who's a Black woman? She's fucking awesome. But she was like, no, speak up for yourself. But I just meant in terms of my journey with it as just a human, a woman being there, let alone having a Black woman come in there and also dealing with that. And then that extra level, I mean, that is just insane. I can't even imagine, but it was nice to have a doula there to speak up for me and to feel and to talk when I couldn't, because you're just going through so many emotions during your pregnancy that you have a lot of shit going on. And so it's nice to have, somebody that knows what they're talking about, because my boyfriend, he's there with me as well, but she knew what to say and the language and all that kind of stuff.
Because all he can do is hold your hand and pray.
Exactly.
He can't do anything else.
Or he's like, oh, what the, he can get a little temperamental.
Right.
And so she was more so I'm going to navigate this in a way that, I know what they're talking about. And then I also know what the doctors are talking about. So it was cool. I definitely recommend a doula if you're, having a babe.
Right. And what I'm hearing from what you're saying is that while if we're talking about someone trying to overcharge you or not take back your return at Target, then what your boyfriend is naturally good at, it could assist in that area. But this is that one area where if you create, they're always looking to kick people out the room.
1,000%.
So you start coming in
he's
here,
a black man, so
right,
they're like
intimidation, right? Stereotypes about black men and us being like scary people. So yeah, I could see that. And
oh yeah, he takes absolutely no shit.
Right.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, so I love him in that way, but like sometimes you do have to speak calmly, and I think I was being a little too passive probably because also I was just like in a lot of pain and whatever, and so then I might have been a little too passive and just being like whatever, and then he was maybe too
aggressive.
Oh hell no! And then the doula came in like, okay, let's kind of
right,
take a little bit of both.
Because she knows how this works. She's been through these waters before, so it's almost like she was like your Harriet Tubman in a way, like trying to
let's go.
Let's go. Come with me. All right. No, you gotta leave that here. Just trust me. But that's good. Thank you very much for sharing that experience. That, and I appreciate you using the word traumatic, because I think that sometimes people and first of all, you don't have to ever give details that you don't want to give. But I think sometimes people maybe, and let me say men, sometimes might get the idea that if she doesn't talk about what her experience was like, then it must have been all good.
Yeah, and it sucks because like I wish that people, or I would have been more exposed to real shit, because I had no idea what I was in for. Like I didn't even know, and I was very ill prepared. I actually thought my blood pressure was really high, and which is really bad. I didn't know, but it means that like your placenta could break off from the baby and essentially the baby would die. So they never even told me that until like I flipped the fuck out. But so they were like, we got to induce you. I didn't even know what induction was. Like I was like, okay, I just thought I had no idea what I was in for. I feel like they just assume everybody knows, but maybe I should have done a little more research, I guess. But so I was induced, and so we went, and Jared was like, he's looking to me like I know. And so he's like, yeah, like, do you have to like pack your bags? You're getting induced. I was like, no, you just go in, because this is what I fucking saw in the movies. I'm like, right. You just go in, you get a pill, and then you go home, and I'm like, that's what happens. He's like, okay. So we went. It was so funny because we went to the hospital, and they called us at like 3 a.m, like, your room's ready. And we were like so confused. It was like we were like Tweedledee and Tweedledum. He's like, what's that? Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. So we went in there, and they're like, well, congratulations. And he's like, congratulations? What? He's like, aren't we going home? They're like, no, you're here to have a baby. We're like, oh my God. Because we were 3 weeks, it was like 3 weeks early. So we were like, we aren't ready for this. But yeah, we didn't know shit. I mean, like, I'm telling you, like, absolutely nothing. It was just all trial and error.
Wow. Well, that you know what, I see why so many sitcoms and movies, they recreate that whole scene of because normally the way we grew up watching TV, you would have this moment where my water broke, he would be frantic, but y'all didn't have anything like that.
I was I don't even want to get into it, but
okay.
No, I do, not meaning like, just meaning like it's so long. Right. But I'll talk. I'm an open book. I'll talk about whatever.
Okay.
But I went in to get induced, and my body just wasn't ready. Like it was just like, and I know like for health reasons they needed to at least attempt to induce me, but my body was just rejecting everything that they were trying to doing, and I was 0 centimeters dilated. So they ended up, I was in the hospital for like 4 days, like, and then I got sent home, and then I came 2 days later. I got induced again because my blood pressure was really, really high. I think I was just really, really stressed. And then I was in the hospital for another like 4 days, and then I had the baby. But it's just a fucking lot, it was a lot. So
yeah. Well done to both you and Jared.
Thank you.
And your doula.
Yes, Liana.
Well, thank you very much, Liana, for helping her to navigate through those traumatic waters and to deliver her baby. What is your baby's name?
Zaria.
Okay, tell me about that a little bit. How did you come up with that name?
It's a city in Ghana, number one. But I looked up, me and Jared, he's a Virgo, I'm a Libra, right? He's very serious, I'm very not.
Right.
And he is alpha male, like 1,000%. So he's very honest. Like that's what I love about him. But he'll say, I'm like, what about this? Oh, what was the name I liked that he like, makes fun of me so bad? Katarina. Yeah, it was like.
Whoa. Okay.
But I would say, well, that is just an example. But as I say it now, it is kind of a bad name. But I would give him these names, and he'd be like, absolutely not. But not even just say no, like make fun of the names so hardcore. So names we really butted heads on.
Yeah.
So what was Nova? We both thought of Nova. Yeah.
Nova.
And then
Nova.
Yeah, Nova was cool because it's like a star that burst or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So I really liked that. But then one day I just woke up and I was like, it was Nova. We were calling her Nova. And I was like, I don't know. We could do better than Nova. He's like, oh my God. I'm like, okay.
Wait, so when she was born, she didn't have a name right away?
No, she did. This was already just pre her.
Oh, okay. I got you.
And then I found on Pinterest like a warrior woman names, and I was like, fuck it, she was about to come like a week later, so I was like, we have to pick a name. So it was between Hendrix, Zaria, and there was one other name.
I like Hendrix too.
I really liked Hendrix.
You just gotta have some more kids. Then you use the name.
Exactly. It's funny because that's what I said. I'm like, well, now if we have another girl, we can know what to name her. But it was between Hendrix and Zaria just sounded cooler. But it's funny because you think in terms of names, you think about, can people mess up names, or can people? You would never think people would mess up. Zaria is how you spell it. I'm telling you when you go to the doctor. Zaria like diarrhea.
And that's just really stupid, though. That actually,
Zaria. I'm like, no, it's Zaria. But I can understand because it's like Maria,
okay, so I hear you. But I feel like what's interesting is I feel like if we're going to talk about some white people, I feel like sometimes.
Because we are.
Right. Because they sometimes they don't get the spelling is like I don't know, it could be like Azaria, or it could be something like Lakeisha or whatever, and they start Lakaia or whatever, start butchering it. And it's just like, now damn well that don't make no sense.
Or Zaria. Yeah. Zaria, I get that.
That's
a
just
lot.
so stupid.
I'm like, just call her Z. But it's funny because my name is Genevieve, and so I, growing up, always had like people butcher my name. But that's why I'm like teaching her. I do it now. I'm like, it's Zaria. Or I'll do it with myself. Like, it's Genevieve, actually, because you have to. You have to correct them.
And to go back to your point about advocating for yourself, whether you're in the delivery room or just you're trying to negotiate a rate for your business or whatever you try and do, like, you got to advocate for yourself.
1,000%. Because the only person who has your back, like you have your back, is YOU.
Right.
And so that's important.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that. And I feel like another thing, just one last thing about your daughter's name. I think Zaria is cool because I'll tell you something about me. I have a real love affair with names where if I took away the A, the R, the I, and the A, and she was just Z, like that Z gets here before she physically gets here. Like there are certain letters in the alphabet. It's like Q, X, and Z. If you have a name that's Q, X, or Z, we didn't even get to the rest of the name, and your name is already hard. So
it's funny because I'm obsessed with Z's, and I want all of our kids to have Z names. And Jared's like, how many other Z names are there? I'm like, well, I don't know,
there's a lot,
but we gonna make them up.
Zori,
and he's like,
you can keep going.
He's like, so we're gonna be that family with our kids gonna be all named Z's. I'm like, absolutely we are.
And Z to me reminds me of how when you play sports, you're supposed to wear this number, but then all of a sudden here comes the guy wearing like 99 in basketball, or like Dennis Rodman wearing 91. It's just like, come on, man, you're not supposed to do that, but that Z,
you can get away with it.
Oh yeah, and Z, Zorro, whatever, Zorro, Zuri, Zach, like there are just so many.
Don't say Zach.
Oh.
No, I don't know. It just sounds like a lame name.
Yeah, it does sound kind of lame. I mean, I like Zach Morris from
okay,
right, but that's white people still.
Okay, no, I just made you feel bad. Zach is cool.
Nah, it's cool. I'm not naming my kid Zach, but we on the same page though. That's really, I'm glad we had that moment. Because, all right, I ain't going to say, I'm sure everybody keeps a list of baby names. What's really funny.
Every woman has a list of, even if it's in the back of their mind or on their iPhone. My best friend, she doesn't have any kids. She has a whole list of baby names.
And apparently some men too, because I can't find it right now. But I definitely got like a list of baby names.
I love that.
I got like 60 of them because to me, it'll be easier to get like something that I want. So if I want a Nova or a Hendrix or something like that, that, it'll be easier to get it because it's like she got to be like, "Wow, you thought this out."
Yeah, you're like, I'm really passionate about this.
As opposed to being like a moron, it's like, all right, now it's time to pick names. And because you know with y'all gonna be ready. Y'all like so when you and Jared was going, Jared was like, "Yo, I got this name." You like, "Oh, that's cute." Damn, I got this. It's like, damn.
No, he shot down every single one of my names.
Damn, hater, man.
But as well, he wants to say like, yeah, they really did. They were not good. I'm glad we went with Zaria.
So you said now I like how you said we, but who picked Zaria?
I did.
Because somebody had okay. Well, you heard it here.
Well, so they basically what happened is I found this list of like warrior names
on Pinterest,
right? And I was like, F this, right? So I basically gave him like 4 names, and I forget what the other ones. They're definitely written down somewhere. But I was like, pick out of this list, and then he was like, I like Hendrix or Zaria. I go, Zaria. So that's what happened.
Yeah, I think Hendrix, and then also you got to think about how it fits with the last name.
Yes,
it's got
Lewis is the last name.
Okay, Zaria Lewis.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also weird too because we're not married, and every time I check in, like her at the doctors or whatever, I have to say, like, I always forget her because my last name's Jackson. So I'm like,
Jackson is so easy. Like everything goes with Jackson.
Yeah. Hopefully one day my name will be changed to Lewis. We'll see. But yeah. So it's funny when I go and I'm like, sorry, Lewis, because it's not the same last name.
Yeah, but man, you know what? When you start talking about name changes and some people get hyphenated names, I'm just thinking about, man, it's gonna be so hard to say goodbye to Jen Jax because it's just like it's just like Jackson. I'm looking at everything, the J, the A, the X, and the N. It's just like the J. It's just like the J sounds, and it's just like, well, I guess professionally, I guess legally you can.
Yeah, I was gonna say like professionally probably won't change. Like,
okay,
who am I, like Kim Kardashian over here? I'm like, well, professionally.
Right.
But
and her daughter be getting her. Right. Like, yo, stop using that fake voice.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. So funny. But yeah, so I'll probably keep all that same stuff.
Okay.
But here's me, like this imaginary marriage it's stuff we've definitely talked about it many times.
Good.
But
so he won't be caught off guard.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh no. I'm not one of those psychos that's like
dropping hints and shit.
Yeah, I'm just like, is this the plan? I remember one time, like, is this the plan? Is this what's happening? Like one time I came out real blunt. I'm like, I just need to know because if not, what are we working towards? Like, he's like, I'm like, I just want to know if this, I want to make sure that our end goals are the same, and I'm just, like I said, I'm super nonchalant and pretty chill for the most part. But I was just thinking about it like, damn, we got a baby together. We live together, all this shit.
We need to get some clarity.
I just want to know where our end game is. You know what I mean? And I'm not, because I grew up with parents that had not a good marriage at all. So marriage to me isn't like, that's why a lot of people are like, are you guys getting married? Like, what's the deal? Da-da-da.
You're taking your time.
And Jared even asked me, he's like, don't you think it's right if we get married? I was like, honestly, no. First of all, I don't want you pregnant on our wedding because I was like, I got pregnant out of nowhere. I was like, I don't want to resent you. I want to be able to choose that I got married because I wanted to get married.
Not because you felt obligated.
Yeah, and marriage doesn't mean shit. You could have a ring and you could have a failed marriage. You could have a cheater, So I want to make sure, like a lot of women give ultimatums and they're like, you better, if by blank time we're not married. I don't want the marriage if it's not, both organic, parties are organic, great word to use. But so to me, it's like, we'll do it when we're ready. But if I wanted to do it, or if I didn't want to be with somebody then I wouldn't be with him,
Right. And what a lot of relatives out there need to understand is that sometimes people just really don't want to deal with y'all.
Yeah.
Like sometimes people, because, I've seen it. I won't call out any names, but I've seen it.
Let me get my list.
Right. I got my list. But I've seen some people in my family before, and it goes into the planning stage. And when you start talking about paying for plates for people that might not show up, and then other people resent you because you didn't invite them, but they got 10 kids.
I'm so like anti that. Like
So how would y'all do it?
Yeah, we've talked about it. I am not. That gives me anxiety. I don't want to do that shit. I'm not. It's not for me. And
that's not for you at all. It's really not about you at all.
No, it's not. You're so right. And my like ideal wedding would just be like a destination, which is like a great excuse for people not to come. You're like, well, Aunt Sally, I did invite you, but you can't come.
You can invite the whole, even your enemies. You can invite anybody to a destination.
I invited you.